Welcome back to the energy tips for you Patreon subscribers and heart warriors and everyone working with us directly. This is the energy tips for week 11, 9th till 15th of March 2019. And my name is Jona Bryndis, and I'm going to guide you through what you can do with this week coming ahead. You saw the energy barometer, so it's an orangey red week, meaning that there are some intense energies coming in, and there are some energies that will make you want to go within. This week is probably the best week ever to go within, so please indulge in your energetic sensitivity this week, but at the same time be careful not to drown in it, not to go into the extreme with it. All right, this is all about consciously witnessing, meaning that you still have to be fully present. You still have to be in your harmony between your 3D being, your humanness, and your spiritual being that you are. All right, so allow yourself to feel your spiritual self, but don't fall into the abyss of that. And what I mean with this, you'll find out here as we go through the different layers of how this may affect you, is that, you know, through these energies speeding up, you'll feel this physical body as really heavy and almost like a hindrance. And it's very important not to go into rejecting our physical or rejecting our energy body. So it's about finding this balance and really, you know, gauging this out. I'm going to share something really important for you here in these energy tips that I've only shared in personal energy coaching before. It's something that you can practically apply pretty much every day to see where you're at energetically, which also kind of connects you with your intuition as to what you can do about this. All right, so this is all about liberating yourself from this duality of being a soul in a human body. All right, now if you can actually go there and allow yourself to work with your energy body, to work with your physical, to work with your emotions and your mental energies, and even to work with your relationships, then you will find that this is a great week to reset everything. Okay, so my overall tip for this week is really go into feeling yourself. Okay, whatever that entails for you, but it's okay to just be with yourself a little more. Just don't isolate, as I said before. Triangulate yourself. Where are you standing here with yourself? All right, and so as an energy worker, this will help you to feel yourself more. Now, there are some aspects here that come in collectively that affect our planetary system, and I want to just briefly mention that this speeding up of energies can also, of course, lead to collective releases of stuff. Okay, so there is a deflation going on, a deflation of this illusion that we have been standing in, that we have been projected into the matrix, so to speak. And there will be things that you notice that have to do with I call this intergenerational wheel of power, okay, where you see how these things have been going on forever, you know, forever. And within your personal life, you may find out that these patterns that you've discovered here in your relationships, that they've been going on forever as well. The manipulation, how you've been oppressed in your ability to understand yourself fully. And, you know, don't get me wrong again here, I'm not pointing fingers at our parents. We all have insufficient parents, and we all are insufficient parents. That's part of this wheel, okay? So we all bring in our personal stuff, and some of that is inherited karmically through generations, and there is no reason to look back and point fingers. It's more about triangulating yourself within this wheel and where you are standing. And consciously witnessing also means to discover where you're entering the process. All right, so there will be continued resentments and anger maybe that can come forward in you, and some of you may go into a little bit of a depression here next week. So just watch that you don't drown in this. It's very watery, it's very fluid, and you know, when you feel this strong influx of energy coming in, you have to discipline yourself a bit. All right, as empath and energetically sensitive, this can become very overwhelming very quickly. All right, so let's look into the chakras involved and why it's so important to really, you know, consciously witness yourself, in the sense that you'll also become a bit more appreciative of your energetic sensitivity, you know, and that you can really see how this is actually helping you to protect yourself from things that are manipulative, that are toxic, that are incongruent, that are not good for you. All right, this is what you have this seventh sense for. All right? So the energy centers triggered here next week are our second chakra. This is where we want to go into this lazy binge eating, you know, like just sort of you know, like letting everything be and checking out. So we got to be a little careful here. Checking out is not the answer, as you know. At the same time, we have this really strong influx of our true self wanting to come into expression, wanting to be actualized, as we call this in energy work. But it needs to be synchronized still with our heart mind and with our willingness to fully stand in our truth. So the things that will come up here next week that may depress you a little bit are the things where you're not standing in your truth. And here, this is the fourth and the sixth chakra that we've talked about last week, right? And here it's really important that you you know, understand that your sense of self, that's your third chakra, and the power you have to express that they have to do with congruence. And congruence means that you cannot really put your ego over the divine. You cannot really say, I know better, all right? It also doesn't mean that you have to succumb to anything outside of yourself. It's very hard to describe in words, because when the seventh chakra is as open as it will be next week, you'll feel sort of both influences, you know, the power of yourself and the higher power in you, almost like colliding. It's not a conflict. So really what I'm trying to say is allow all that to come together, allow all that to harmonize. Grace integrity is a really beautiful energy work modality for this. Physically, what this is going to do to you is going to make you somewhat lazy. It's going to make you, mentioned this already, want to check out a bit. Now, some of you may also feel issues with temperature regulation, fever, you know, especially the kids, but also back issues, like things that go through your spine, that go through your entire nervous system, all right? And you got to be a little careful here to not go into this you know, sort of giving up on yourself, okay? Allow yourself to be in that place, in that inner silence with yourself, but don't do this in the sense of cutting yourself completely off from your body. You got to stay present, you got to stay in your body. So no binge eating, guys. When this happens, it's always a sign that you are self-soothing, and self-soothing is a form of ego reactivity, okay? Instead, do the I am breathing, meditate, come to transmissions, you know, help your nervous system to reset. Give it what it needs, which is sleep, water, good food. We talked about this last week. And a little less doing. So I need to be a little softer with myself, not judge myself based on my performance and my doingness. And to remind myself that what it really is that makes me be able to be of service to others is what I have become in the process of my journey, and not what I do or what I say. Emotionally, of course, it's that confliction of self, and I talked about deflation. Guys, there's, you know, you're gonna have to look at the truth of your specialness. You know, I've mentioned this last week. This is all about really seeing your ivory tower. And so emotionally, that doesn't go over well if you're still thinking that you were the victim, or, if this is something that, was taken away from you, or, the world is hostile. This isn't going to go well. All right. Then you will, of course, to get depressed and depleted and anxious. Okay. So instead of going into this dualistic way of seeing yourself and your emotions and your emotional processing. Yes, emotional processing will be overwhelming next week, but in a good way. Be self-reflective about it. It can feel heavy, but that's okay. All right, then know what to do when you feel heavy. Okay? Take yourself less serious. This will help you mentally, because most of it, or most of the conflict and most of the reactivity that we have is about our own projection of the future, our own plans, our own rigidity. Okay, and you will feel a bit brain fog here, this next week, which is great. Embrace it. Don't be afraid of not being able to intellectually process things the way you normally do. That's okay. Trust in your instincts here. Trust in your inner guidance. It will carry you through. There's something larger at play, guys, and you can't control this anyway. So let go of your mind and allow, your energy body to lead you the way. Now, the thing that I wanted to share with you today are the 3 gauges of self-awareness, and what this can do for you guys if you apply this in your daily meditation habit, in your daily, this doesn't have to take more than 2 minutes really. Sort of checking in with yourself is to test your congruence and to test where your levels are at. It also teaches you non-judgment. It teaches you to just see your physical, your emotional, your mental state as a state, as energy. And this is all something, as you know, that can be transformed, that can be changed. You are not the victim of your energies. You're not the victim of collective energies. No, you are the master of your own energies. You just don't know this yet. So this is what we're training here. All right. So these 3 gauges that you see there on your screen right now, called the Energetic Self-Awareness Test. That's from the later steps in the Sacred Self-Healing course. I want you to, whether you understand the metaphysical background to this or not, it's not important. But we are composed out of like 3 major energetic fields, if you will. And I want you to see your own energy composed of these 3 layers, okay? Truth, love, and light. Now, this sounds a bit esoteric, but if you look at the questions underneath it, you get a better feel for what these actually indicate. It helps to visualize your energy a bit, even if you can't see energies. Really, all you got to do is to go in, and what I do personally is to do a very quick sort of going through all my chakras. If you've never done this before, then come to the chakra intensive this weekend. I'll teach you how to do that. But just to get a basic feel for where you're at, and it's also very centering and grounding. You don't have to know how to clear your chakras or anything like that. It's more just a checking in. And then I want you to visualize a gauge that tunes you into your truth. This is a gauge, energy is often being seen as blue. So focus on a blue color and visualize a scale from 0 to 10. Where am I? And my truth. Is what I'm feeling really true to me? What am I truly feeling? Questions like this. Where am I? So really visualize this for yourself, and perhaps if you can conceptualize it this way, or go into this abstract way, try to either see it or in numbers define where you're at on a scale from 0 to 10. Today I'm at a 6. All right. The second gauge that I want you to tune into is more gold. It has this like really beautiful gold yellow energy to it. And that one informs you about your congruence levels. How congruent am I? Am I conflicted right now? Am I in resistance right now, or am I really self-loving and okay with where I'm at? And this gauge can inform you about how much you're actually standing in your self-love. All right, so right now I'm standing, well, at a good 8 with my self-love. That's pretty good. All right. And then the last gauge is more of a purple magenta type of color, if you want to focus on that. And that informs you about how well you are actually expressing this and actualizing this. It's another component of your congruence, right? So how well am I in expressing that? I'm actually really high with this right now. So that's like almost at a 9 for me. This is really good. So don't see this as a performance about yourself. See this as a self-test. You know, where am I standing with myself energetically right now? And you know, if you then take this as information, you know, oh, my truth levels is a little low today, so I'm going to have to work with really being willing to see things the way they are. Or my expression part, you know, maybe my boundary setting, you know, how well I express my boundaries isn't very high today. So I need to focus on that a little bit. Or my self-love gauge, right? The golden gauge is a little low. Then I need to focus on that a bit more. So it's actually, you know, like something that can give you a bit of a guidance, of a roadmap for your day, what to focus on. All right. So socially, you know, this next week is not the time for making big decisions in general. Some of you know this. There's a Mercury retrograde in effect until the end of March. So not to say that this is all about the retrograde, but those are energies that come in with a retrograde that force you to go into this reflective state. And if you really want to make good decisions or healthier decisions in the future, then use this time here, these next 2 weeks, to just reflect. All right, don't jump to conclusions. Wait till the end of March with bigger decisions. Okay, feel into the other when the other talks to you, when the other expresses things to you, how they feel to you. Okay, really, you know, go with this inward thing. Especially if you're a parent, don't be too reactive with your kids this week. They're going through this as well, and they have no way of contextualizing this. So feel into them, and also help them to understand energies in the sense of, how are you truly feeling about this? What is your feeling about this? What is your inner guidance about this? All right, so strengthen this for your children by going into this, instead of just, you know, taking the words or the way they said it, or the body language. Pierce through this, you know, use this momentum here where you can feel into the deeper stuff. Test things like respect. How well are you respecting me? How well am I respecting you? This comes in here strongly for this weekend. Really try to differentiate between your own needs and those of your loved ones. Don't go into this automatic reactive mode of trying to fix or compensate for things. Instead, feel, you know, and always ask yourself these 3 questions that we've just went through with the gauge. Spiritually, beware yourself of extremes, okay? Because when you go into this extreme sort of floaty, you know, just going with the flow, you're losing the connection, or you're losing the balance between your masculine and feminine energies. And that can make you, you know, sort of really go into like the depths of dissolving everything. You want to dissolve your false self, but you don't want to dissolve everything about yourself. Okay, so yes, go with the spiritual connection, maybe more through nature rather than jumping into dreaming or visioning. Okay, prevent yourself from going into fantasizing. This is a time for intense dreaming, and also dreaming into the future, but not fantasizing. All right, stay absolutely present. And those of you who were in the Mental Heart Fusion Marathon last week, you've already practiced this. Practice to stay in your inner silence, in your nothingness, and observe how your mind immediately tries to fill up those this void, this gap there. Okay, recognize that your thinkingness is not who you are. Not even your emotions are who you are. Okay, you are composed of much more of this. There's a divine order in, you know, your being here. Okay, and recognize that this is a lot bigger than your ego can think. So it's this concept of letting go of the ego over God. Okay, for those of you who know what I mean with this. Energetically, it's really a fantastic time to explore your inner dynamics. Work with it. Don't judge yourself. You know, chakra work is phenomenal for this because it's rather technical, and therefore you don't really have to go into, you know, the self-bashing. Work with these gauges of self-awareness, the gauges of awakening, as I also call them, and discover what you are truly made of. Okay. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for supporting transCODES. Tell your friends about it. Share this wisdom with others. Share the knowledge about this. And thank you all for your loving support. Have a wonderful week.